Stephanie, I'm trying to think about how to sum up Walmart. Could have been worse? Is that the right way of thinking about it?
Yeah, I think it can always be worse in this kind of backdrop. But the good news is that they were seeing some strengthening in consumer behavior at the end of the quarter. They also saw some supply chain relief at the end of the quarter. So, directional improvement on a couple of the key measures that give investors confidence, and certainly us as analysts confidence as well. At the same time, to their credit, and I think we need to see a lot of this from management teams right now, they're not extending too far. They're maintaining a very realistic approach to the back half. They know the consumer is still making discriminate decisions about trade out and trade down. And so they're maintaining their back half guidance unchanged. I think, again, at this point, that's very reasonable based on what we know about the macro and just the volatility in the
Stephanie,
consumer.
what I was confused about is just a few weeks ago, they give that profit warning. It sort of tanks the stock again. What changed in the last few weeks? Like, did demand surprise to the upside? They mentioned very much that the middle and higher income earners are coming to shop at Walmart, or did supply pressures actually ease that much that quickly?
Yeah, Alex, it's a great question. I actually think your question inherently answers the question, which is that the volatility in the backdrop is week to week. It is combat week to week on the part of the consumer making decisions and businesses planning for those consumer decisions. So what changed ultimately was the relief in fuel and some supply chain improvements. So not so much of a change in consumer behavior or action, although a bit of strengthening they did mention at the end of July, just with fuel prices coming down. So I think they had planned for there not to be any relief, and then there was a modest bit of relief.
Stephanie, Walmart is buying back huge amounts of stock. Is that the reason to own the stock? And what does it signal about their degree of confidence?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the sole reason to own the stock. They've always had a very diversified capital allocation plan. I think the bigger reason you own Walmart is that into a recessionary environment, this is where the consumer tends to go. And we tend to like on the retail side to follow the foot traffic. Where the foot traffic goes signals to us where the consumer is seeking incremental value. And that's what Walmart is bringing right now, is that they're actually advocating for their consumers in terms of price. You're seeing big price gaps starting and to widen out, and grocery shares starting to expand. You mentioned mid and upper income households joining in and moving towards value. So I think this is more about a positioning from a mixed perspective, and that they're in a pole position to win on price and market share in grocery in particular. And then we're waiting to see what happens with these general merchandise categories. Clearly, that was a big shift from goods to services. Does that start to come back as we get into back to school and holiday? It tends to be a little bit more of a goods intensive phase of the year. And do we start to see some relief on some of the inventory pressure? So there's some moving pieces, but I would say we're not reading this as an all clear, but more so as a directional indicator that they've started to get their arms around this business. And from a capital allocation, you get buyback, but you also get some fundamental stability now into the back half of the year.
Stephanie, do we know who they're taking market share from with those middle to high income earners?
Yeah, well, again, it's coming in grocery. So we have to assume it's coming from specialty grocery, independent grocery, some of the grocery chains. So I would imagine it's just on the periphery, starting to see that incremental dollar in the basket is coming towards Walmart versus going away from them. And they did lose share in grocery in 2020. So this is maybe a bit of a pullback to what they historically have earned in terms of that grocery share.
Let's do a side by side with Amazon. How does Walmart stack up right now?
Two different businesses. I mean, Amazon's business, as we know, is beyond retail and beyond commerce. Walmart's business is becoming more about beyond retail and commerce. And some of the stats we got from Walmart today that were really encouraging, their ad business was up 30%. They're seeing more and more uptake of their buy online, pick up in store. Their Walmart Plus membership numbers were up strongly. They're adding more value to that Walmart Plus in terms of the Paramount partnership and entertainment. So they're starting to take some cues from what has made Amazon do extremely well with that consumer household. And they're starting to parallel some of those strategies. But Walmart's still on the front end of that journey, versus Amazon at the mature end.